So the next presentation is from Hamid Hanifi, who is a Director of Technology and Innovation at AESOLAR. And Hamid is going to speak on the next generation of shade resistance modules from AESOLAR. I think Shao already touched on the topic of this shade resistance, and Hamid is going to do a deep dive into the subject.
Hello, thank you, Shravan, for the kind introduction, and thank you, everyone. And I would welcome you to this presentation about our next-gen shade-resistant PV module, ShadeStar. Well, a little bit about our company. AESOLAR is a Tier 1 PV module manufacturer listed by Bloomberg, and we have at the moment 2.2 gigawatt capacity of production in Turkey and China. We are in the market since 2003, and we are active in more than 100 countries at the moment. We are also recognized by Kiva Group and CEA as a top performer in reliability and performance. But the topic of today is more about shading. So starting with the motivation, in Europe, almost 60% of the installations are on the roof, so 30% residential, 30% commercial. And as an example, Germany is the biggest European PV market. It has 60% of the panels on the roof, and Netherlands is the biggest market per capita, or has almost 80% of the installations on the rooftops. The challenge of rooftop PV, I would say that one of the biggest challenges is partial shading. So rooftops are not always 100% exposed to the sun, and building elements can cast shadow on the PV modules. This can be different components in rural areas like cables, chimneys, antennas, trees, and other building structures. But in some other urban areas with a complicated urban structure, even neighboring buildings can cast shadow on PV modules. And PV modules, of course, are quite sensitive to partial shading. I mean, even in most extreme cases, if we shade only 5% of the module area, it leads to the total shutdown of the PV module. And continuous partial shading, of course, it heats up the solar cell. And in the presence of microcracks, it can lead to hotspot or in the worst case, even fire. Just a little bit of physics before I dive into the product. So solar cells are typically producing energy in forward bias. And in case that they become shaded, they operate in reverse bias and they act as a consumer. So you can see that they can consume a significant amount of energy if they reach to the breakdown voltage point. And this is what I want to talk about in the coming slides. For this, we did a comparison between an old-timer PERC technology, TOPCon technology, and BC technology in reverse bias. So this means that the solar cells are consumer and they are shaded. In that case, we see that for a PERC solar cell, the solar cell breaks down typically around minus 20 volts, but it is highly irradiance dependent, means that in high irradiance levels, the cell breaks down faster, even at about minus 5 volts. Looking at TOPCon, we see that it breaks down in around minus 39 to minus 48, and it has a lower irradiance dependence compared to the PERC. And it comes around minus 20 to minus 48 volts. The good thing is that the irradiance dependence also starts very late. BC is quite different. So here the solar cell breaks down around minus 4.5 to 5 volt in the case of the cells that we tested, which is significantly lower than the others and almost no irradiance dependence. So here comes the choice. For a shade-resistant PV module, you should have either a solar cell that breaks down very fast or a solar cell that breaks down really late. And this is the cases that we have with both BC and TOPCon solar cells. But now let's talk about the modules. We launched our first generation of shade-resistant module in 2018, which had one bypass diode for every single solar cell, where diodes were soldered on one of the bus bars. So that was a good product for up to 6 busbar solar cells, and at that time full-size solar cells. But moving to the era of half cells, well, we didn't want to put 123 bypass diodes in a module, and of course, it would reduce the reliability of the module and the diodes. So we started to develop a new product, and this product comes as ShadeStar from this year to the market. It has the highest shade tolerability, and we are focusing on a smart electrical design. Here we have segmented the cells in the PV module and protected them with bypass diodes. And the module has up to 440 watts peak power with a full black aesthetic, and it enjoys the product warranty of up to 30 years and a performance warranty of 30 years. The new shade resistant module of AESOLAR has a different module design and a different circuitry. So here we have segmented cell groups that they are interconnected in a not conventional way, and we have integrated bypass diodes to the module to protect each segment, but we also considered some backup diodes. There are 80 G12 half-cut solar cells implemented with TOPCon technology, and the module is being offered as monofacial module with full black design, which is mainly thought for the rooftop applications. Here you can see also a first prototype that we built in our factory, that you can have an idea about how aesthetically the module look like. But let's talk about performance. ShadeStar was tested in a laboratory with Fraunhofer Center for Silicon Photovoltaics, and we benchmarked it with a typical TOPCon and IBC modules with butterfly designs. So here we have two different cell technology and two different module design when it comes to ShadeStar. We considered a very comprehensive shading scenario. So 9 different shading scenarios, shading from one solar cell. Here we consider a solar cell as like full-size solar cell, shading a row, shading a column, shading from left to right, bottom to top, and also multiple rows, multiple columns, and diagonal shading. So we covered basically all possible shading scenarios that you can experience on the rooftop. How we did it, just an example of the first scenario, we shaded the module, or for example, in the case of one single full-size solar cell, so 2 half-cuts, we shaded in every step part of the module or part of the solar cell until we reach to the full shading of one solar cell. This is the case A. For the sake of time, I only present 3 scenarios, the results of the 3 scenarios, but I will give an overview at the end. Here we can see by shading one full-size solar cell, the ShadeStar operates at approximately 95% of its nominal power. So here we have the power related to the no-shade condition for all 3 modules. And you can see that the BC butterfly module, after shading 40%, it loses 1 string and operates at about 65%. And BC has a very interesting result. So you see that it outperforms the TOPCon module. So this is the advantage of cell technology, but it is still underperformed compared to ShadeStar. But when it comes to a larger shading areas, means that we are shading more solar cells, we see that in that case of shading of a column, you see that the butterfly designs of both BC and TOPCon technologies perform similarly. So here, the bypass diodes are already activated and bypass half of the module. And we see that ShadeStar still operates more than 70% of its nominal power. In a case of row shading, we see that, again, butterfly design, no matter BC or TOPCon, they perform similarly, but ShadeStar perform by far better than these 2 technologies. So to give an overview, we compared the area under the curve of each module and rated them to the standard TOPCon module with butterfly design. With this, you can see the ShadeStar in red and the BC module in gray. You see that in one cell shading, BC already shows quite good results compared to the typical TOPCon module. But of course, the ShadeStar outperform it. But in more severe shading scenarios, when more solar cells are shaded, we see that the advantage of BC is not that significant, whereas the advantage of ShadeStar is by far higher. How the module look like in a sense of diodes. So as I mentioned to you, we have implemented different diodes. So diodes to protect the cell segments and backup diodes, which are on the sides of the PV module. This module is also considered to be launched in two variants with passive bypass diodes and variant with active bypass diodes. We looked a lot at the reliability of the bypass diode. So as you can see, this time we are using bypass diode with wings, and this helps us to get a better reliability in a sense of thermocycling. So we did a zigzag on structure on the diode wing, and then we did the soldering. This helps us the reliability of the solder point when it comes to thermocycling. To do the test, together with Fraunhofer Center for Silicon Photovoltaics, the stress test was designed to inject current to the module in a value of short circuit current in forward and reverse bias in 10,000 cycles. So this means that when the module is fed in forward bias, the solar cells are active, and when it's in reverse bias, the bypass diodes are active. So we wanted to check how will be the reliability of the diode if we do this cycle for 10,000, which is almost equivalent to 25 years. Here are the thermography results of the test. You can see on the left side, the module with passive bypass diode, and in the right side, the same module with active bypass diode. You see that where you can locate the areas of the, or the location of the passive bypass diodes, there is almost no active bypass diode visible in thermography image. The reason is the temperature of the diodes. So we see that the passive bypass diodes can reach up to 55 degrees, and then when the bias is changed, they cool down up to 35 degrees. Whereas the active bypass diodes are swinging somewhere between 33 to 37 degrees. So it's almost 30-degree lower temperature under operation compared to the passive version. But we tested both versions, and they both passed the stress test by Fraunhofer Center for Silicon Photovoltaics. We are at the moment testing the energy yield of the module, and we benchmark it with BC modules on the rooftop of Fraunhofer CSP. And the results of the comparison will be published also very soon. We showcased the module also in Intersolar 2026, and despite other conventional tests, as we compare BC module with a standard module, here we compare ShadeStar with the BC module, and we used almost twice bigger shading object. So in this case, the module never goes off. So this is also the feature of this module. No matter how you shade it, the module always produces energy unless that it's night. But what does it mean in a sense of economics? So customers are buying the module in euro per kilowatt peak or dollar per kilowatt peak. They buy the power, but what they need is the energy. They need euro per kilowatt hours. So no matter how powerful is the module or what is the efficiency of the module, when it is shaded, the energy production will be limited significantly. So in case that you have shade-resistant PV modules, you can generate more energy even when the module is partially shaded. According to the research from Zurich University of Applied Sciences on shade-resistant PV modules, there is almost no need for power optimizer after using these sort of modules. So basically in small to medium-sized shades, you don't need power optimizers. As a takeaway message, again, I emphasize that the customers pay for the power, but they need the energy. And high efficiency under shading does not mean higher energy. ShadeStar has the highest shading resistivity properties at the moment in the market, and BC cells outperform TOPCon cells under shading. So this is for known in a typical standard butterfly design. But the smart module design has higher impact than the cell technology. For this, of course, we implemented diodes, and we find out that the active bypass diodes can have a significant advantage in a sense of energy because they don't consume that much energy compared to the passive diodes when they are in operation. And in low to medium size shading scenarios, no power optimizer is needed. So to make it all together, module technology can outperform cell technology, but a combination of BC and optimized module design is the best solution to achieve the best shade-resistant PV module. So this means that we don't say that the BC modules are bad. We say that the module technology can outperform the cell technology, and in case that you look at the module in a different way, you can achieve a significantly higher energy yield in different shading conditions. And with this, I would like to thank you very much for your attention.
Thanks, Hamid. I think there was a cool remark what you gave, like modules. If I understood it correctly, modules can be independently also contribute to the greater good of power generation, energy generation. So, what you also mentioned, it can be combined. The ShadeStar technology can be combined with BC. So, a rough estimation of what would be the benefit if you do that?
Well, we can reduce the number of bypass diodes drastically. So, I mean, really, really drastically. But again, we have to also change the circuitry of the module. So this means that in case that we go for the next gen with DC cells, it possibly wouldn't look like the same circuit design as I demonstrated today. But this is also an ongoing work from us. So this means that we have to again look to a different module design, but in this module design, we require significantly lower bypass diodes.
And one more question, right now the multi-cut cell-based modules are getting popular, and then module makers are also doing some innovations, are just thinking different in terms of the circuit, electrical circuit. So how does the shade resistance ShadeStar technology would be applied, or how do you think this is gonna play with the ShadeStar technology with these so many strips of cells, and then the module itself is now not anymore the butterfly design, it's also evolving into some different combinations. So where do you see ShadeStar application in such layouts?
Well, first of all, I should say that in the sense of application, it is designed for the rooftops. And we expect that the majority of the application would be residential rooftop, because in a commercial rooftop, you typically have less shading areas unless that it's a special scenario. But for example, we also can consider this in the edges of or the sides of the utility scale project in case that it is like the same module size. Of course, it is just in the old times with the last generation, we had this effect that in case that you use it on the sides of the power plant, for example, in a place like Vietnam, that can bring an advantage. However, due to the size of this module, we consider this module mainly for residential application on the rooftops, and we think that this is the main market of this product.
Okay. Thanks, Amit. I think we will again meet in a couple of minutes for the panel discussion. So till then, if there are any questions, please answer in the chat window.